Who's Your Disney here, and today we want to talk to you guys about the kind of like the height requirements of Disney World and what age is appropriate to take your kids to Disney. What age would it be a memorable time for them? What age, are they? You don't think that they'd have a good time? So we're here to explain all of that for you, so that you guys have more in detail of what to kind of expect if you've never been there before. That way, we can help you out. So if you have any questions, be thinking of those and comment them below. But while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and we would really appreciate it. We come to you guys with informative Disney travel tips and tricks, and we also have vlogs of our vacations and so on and so forth. We are beginners at this, but at the same time, we are learning. So we're getting better and better, and so just bear with us, and we'll get going. So we're first going to go, we're going to separate these by parks, and I'm going to tell you, how tall you have to be for every ride that has a higher height requirement. So I'm going to start out with Magic Kingdom. And so the first one, you have to be 35 inches, and that's a Barnstormer. And you can find that over in Fantasyland. And that is I would say it's a kid coaster. If you're looking for a coaster to start your kids out on, if they are 35 inches, of course, and you're looking for that first coaster, that's what I would start on, because it's just kind of a gentle coaster, but it's fun too.
Yeah, it's a really good one to start your kid out on. So.
Yeah, we don't ride that every time because it is a kid one. However, it is still fun, I would say. Yeah. But yeah, I would start your kids out on Barnstormer if I had a choice. The next one is actually not a coaster, and it is Tomorrowland Speedway, and it used to be called the Indianapolis 500 there. It is where you can drive the car with your kid that rides with you. I did want to specify that you need to be 32 inches to ride the ride, and then to be a driver you would have to be 54 inches to do that. So just make sure you're meeting the height requirements there. And then the next one is another roller coaster, and you have to be 38 inches to ride Seven Dwarfs. So Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is a great coaster. It's nothing that is rough, nothing that is crazy with speed. There's no huge drops or anything. I would say that would be my second choice after Barnstormer if you're trying to work your child up to something bigger. I would do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train second after Barnstormer. If they like Barnstormer, of course. You don't want to force your kids, past their limits, because there are certain ages, to do that. So, the next one, however, is Thundermountain Railroad, and you have to be 40 inches. And that one is a little bit, there's no huge drops or anything, but it's just jerky a little bit. There's a lot of ups and downs, just kind of just hills. How would you explain that? Yeah, sharp turns. Yep. So I would say if they liked Barnstormer and they liked Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, go ahead and move on to Thunder Mountain Railroad. Maybe let them stand out and look at the coaster beside it as it goes by. Yeah. Because there's a little area where you can look at it, and you can kind of explain, hey, this is what you're going to be riding, and, it's really fun. And there's no, really dark areas besides the first part, I would say. There are a couple tunnels in that.
And if there are some dark places, they come real quick, and then they're gone fast. So there's nothing that's going to be where it's real scary or anything. Exactly. And I would say if you are a parent and only one parent wants to go on it and you have two kids, I think you can fit 3 across with one adult and 2 kids. So I've seen that done before. So that's the kind of nice thing about that. So the next one is Splash Mountain.
And Splash Mountain is a water ride, if you don't know. It is my favorite ride, by the way. And Splash Mountain, you have to be 40 inches tall. It only has one really big drop. The others are very minor drops. There's one dark area, but it doesn't last long. It's a fun ride because there's also singing and dancing, with all the characters and things, and they're all doing different things. So there's so much to look at during that ride that your kid would probably love it.
Yeah. And what better way when it's hot out to cool yourself off.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next one is going to be Space Mountain. And Space Mountain is one of those that even me as a child, I had to work up to.
Yeah.
Because these, your kids are going to have to sit by themselves. They're not sitting beside you.
No.
You are in a single, area. So everybody's sitting behind each other.
Yep.
And there is 6 to a whole coaster, basically. So you want to make sure that, the first time that you take your child on, they will make sure that you're together. Because they always ask you, how many in your party. And if you had a preference of being in the front or back of each other, just go ahead and request that because they're normally accommodating to that. I would say Space Mountain is not something that I would take young children on because it's all in the dark, and if your child is afraid of the dark, not a good idea. There are no huge drops in there, but there are sharp turns, and it's kind of rough, I would say. I wouldn't take my 5-year-old. I would at least wait till they're maybe 8 to 10 years old. But that's just my preference of what I would think. Again, I don't have kids, so your kids might be different. Maybe they're daring and want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's Magic Kingdom. That's everything that has a height requirement. So that means everything else in that park you can go on. Your little babies can go on with you if you want to hold them. You can go on them pregnant. Most of them you can. Because most of them are boat rides or just slow-moving kind of rides, things like that.
So the next park that we're going to talk about is EPCOT. The first ride that has the height requirement, and the reason that has the height requirement is because you do sit by yourself. The requirement is going to be Soarin. Now you will be in a row of 10, so if you have a family of 10, you can all sit in the same row. But it does lift you up in the air, and you do soar through the air. And the reason why they call it Soarin'. Mm-hmm. So, and you do have to be 40 inches tall for that. The next ride with that one is going to be Test Track. That one is 40 inches tall for the height requirement. That one there's 6 to a car, and there's 3 to a row. But you do have a seatbelt on each rider, but it does go up. It does jerk you. You do go around curves. I wouldn't say they're too sharp of curves, but then when you do come outside, you do get up to speeds of 65 mile an hour. So that's kind of why that they have the seatbelts and that they have that height requirement in there for that.
Yeah, and I would say with Test Track, there's a lot of braking, abrupt braking.
Yep.
So just, make sure that they'd be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing scary in there.
No.
Yeah.
And then so the next ride is going to be Mission Space. Now Mission Space, there are 2 different ones that you can go on. There's a green ride for Mission Space, which isn't as rough, I would call it.
Yeah, so one is not as intense. So
intense.
If you pick the green line, you're going to get a less intense experience.
Yep.
I wouldn't recommend anybody going on it that has motion sickness or anything on either one. I'm a person that does not like that ride because it makes me kind of nauseous. But otherwise, if you're okay with that and your kids are okay, I would maybe try the green first.
Yep.
And then work your way up to orange. But adults that know that they can handle it, go ahead and do the orange.
Yeah, and the height requirements for those, the green one is 40 inches, and then the orange is 44 inches for that. But that's it for EPCOT.
Yeah. Everything else in EPCOT, like I said, you can ride. Anybody can ride. The only things left would be Living with the Land, Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Frozen.
Yes, Frozen. And there's the Mexico boat ride. I forget what it's called. The 3...
Caballeros.
Yes, Caballeros. And then there's also Nemo as well. So those are going to be the other rides. And of course, Ratatouille's coming soon, which I'm sure everybody will be able to ride that. I don't think they'll have a height requirement from what I've seen. Doesn't look like something that would require a height requirement. But yeah, that is it for EPCOT. So next is Hollywood Studios. And there's several rides in Hollywood Studios that require a height requirement. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with Slinky Dog Dash. And that is 38 inches. And so basically I would start your kid out there at that park with Slinky Dog Dash. Let's say they've tackled Barnstormer or they've tackled Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I would compare it to maybe Seven Dwarfs Mine Train a little bit on, how intense it is, but it's not intense at all. But
it's a very smooth ride.
Our 2-year-old niece actually rode it 2 years ago, and I think she would have liked it, but I think that she would need to be just a few inches taller because I think it freaked her out because she couldn't see everything. So I think if she was just a little bit taller, she wouldn't have been freaked out.
Yeah.
And, and 2-year-olds young for, putting them on something like that. So I understand why. The next one is Alien Swirling Saucers, and that is not a roller coaster or anything. That's over in Toy Story Land by Slinky Dog. And basically it's like a tilt-a-whirl kind of experience. What would you compare it to? Tilt-a-whirl thing, kind of. Teacups. Yes, that's a better one. Tilt-a-whirl, like a fair. So I would definitely take your kids on that if they're, not prone to motion sickness. That is something that goes around and around. So just so you know, we actually haven't rode that, and that's something that we need to do.
But I'm not big on ones that go in circles.
I'm not either, but I think we should just try it. Say we rode it, Yeah,
that's true.
So the next one is Millennium Falcon, and that's over in Star Wars Land, and we have not rode any of the Star Wars rides yet. I haven't got the chance to, unfortunately. We're hoping to in October when we go. Hopefully they're open. Millennium Falcon, you have to be 38 inches to ride. From what I've seen, on vlogs and things, this is a type where you could get motion sickness because of the screen and the what do I want to say?
Where it raises you up and down.
Yeah, the movement of the vehicle. And why can't we think of big words? Like, seriously, we've been in quarantine too long. Big words are hard.
Very.
So, that's Millennium Falcon. And then Rise of the Resistance, which looks amazing. I've heard nothing but amazing things. And I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I am, stoked to ride this ride. So, Rise of the Resistance, you have to be 40 inches tall. And I've heard that's a ride like nothing else. So I really can't give you much details on it because I have not rode that. Neither has Adam. So.
No. It's going to happen.
Yeah, we're really excited to ride this. So the next one is going to be Star Tours. And that is a motion sickness ride. Again, kind of make sure that you are not, prone to motion sickness because you're looking at a screen while your vehicle is moving. As I've gotten older, I can't tolerate those kind of things anymore, so he has to go by himself because I can't do it no more. I don't know what flicked the switch, but I can't tolerate those anymore, unfortunately. Tower of Terror. You have to be 40 inches tall to ride.
Love it.
And Tower of Terror is so awesome. Nothing I would take a 5 or 6-year-old on.
No.
I would at least wait till they're 8 to 10 years old to take them, and then be holding their hand.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of creepy in there. I know I still get a nervous feeling in my stomach every time I ride it, because one, you get a different experience every time.
You do.
Two, you know the drop's coming, and just anticipation, I guess. There's a lot of dark areas in there, so just so that you're aware of that.
Yep.
And Rock and Roller Coaster is next, and that is the one where you need to be 48 inches tall. And for those of you who don't know, that is a roller coaster starring Aerosmith. They play Aerosmith songs in your ears while you're riding the roller coaster in the dark. There are glow-in-the-dark things in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really cool coaster. I love that coaster. I would definitely take an experienced coaster kid on this. This is nothing I would take a first timer or anything. You definitely need to build up to this one. However, it is smooth for the most part.
Yep.
I don't remember it being rough or anything like that, but just an experienced rider, so you don't freak your child out.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll go ahead and... Is there anything else you want to say about Hollywood Studios?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. If you want to go ahead and talk about Animal Kingdom, your favorite.
Alright, guys, so the last but not least is Animal Kingdom, which is my favorite park. So the first ride I want to talk about is Cali River Rapids. And the height requirement for this is 38 inches. I haven't really rode this ride. I don't know if you have.
I have, a long time ago.
But it pretty much says it right in there, rapids. So it's going to get you soaked. You're going to do a lot of spinning. And you're basically in your seat by yourself.
That's a water ride where you all sit in a circle, and it gets you soaked. If it is 90 degrees that day to 100 degrees index, I would definitely recommend that ride. I haven't rode it in so long, and I actually tend to skip it because you get so soaked, and I'm a person, I don't want to walk around in soaked clothes. Yep. Even though they'll probably dry fast. If we're wearing tennis shoes with socks, I'm not trying to get my socks.
Yeah, I'm not trying to walk through the whole park, spend 10 hours there, squeak,
squeaking all around the park. So
then not only that though, when you're soaked and when you go, I don't know if anybody else realizes this, but even when it rains, but when you go into a store, because it's so cold inside the stores, you literally sit there and you chill.
Yep.
Like you get the shivers and stuff too. So I don't want to do that.
That is true. Yeah. Because, Walt Disney air conditioning is grade A air conditioning.
Oh, it's something.
So,
all right, the next one I want to talk about is Dinosaur. And you have to be 40 inches tall for this one. This ride is motion sickness that you can get. There is a lot of movement on this ride. It is very bumpy. There are some scary spots in this ride, so if your kid is prone to being scared real easily, I wouldn't take a chance on this ride, and it is mostly in the dark as well, but there is a lot of glow-in-the-dark things that they do have, but it is mainly in the dark.
Yeah, and those dinosaurs, I remember riding it as a kid, and they look real.
Oh, yeah.
I know dinosaurs are extinct, but they're there. So right when they take your picture is the biggest dinosaur, and it's freaky, and it's cool though.
So the next ride, which is one of my favorites in this one, is Flight of Passage, and you have to be 44 inches tall for this ride. And the reason for that is they put you in this chair, and it brings a mechanism up to get to your back. And then it basically, you're flying around in Pandora. Yeah. And so, and it moves you to the left, moves you to the right, and you'll get sit up and things, or pushed up from your bottom. And so if your kids kind of get scared with that stuff, I wouldn't take them on that. So I would. What would you say a good ride is to try to? Soarin' probably.
Yeah, Soarin's a good example just because it's the same type of thing. The only difference is you're actually sitting on like this banshee type thing in Flight of Passage.
Yeah. Almost like a bike almost.
If you're prone to motion sickness really bad, I wouldn't ride it. And I do get motion sickness with the screen thing, but on Flight of Passage I did not, just so you know. And I don't with Soarin' either, because I guess there's not a lot of like, I don't know, craziness going on. It's just flying. Same type of thing as Soarin', but Flight of Passage is so awesome. Amazing. I think your child will love all the colors and just looking around, and if they're a child that doesn't want to ride something independently, don't bring them on. Even though you get to sit kind of by each other, or next to each other, I should say, you're not like this. You know what I mean? Yeah,
you're not able to where you can hold on to them or anything like that.
You need to control your own banshee, basically.
So. Not only that, you also want to squeeze with your legs on that. So with that height requirement, that's probably one of the reasons why too. So that way you can hold on. Yeah. All right. The next ride we'd like to talk about is Expedition Everest. This ride you have to be 44 inches tall to ride it. You do sit beside a person, two to a seat. Of course, you have the seatbelt and stuff, but there are some big hills in this one, some big drops, and you also do go backwards in this.
In the dark.
In the dark. So if you have a kid that is, like we've said, that's scared of the dark and stuff, and doesn't like that, I wouldn't take them on this ride. And that is, also when you do go backwards, the G's that you pull is just something different. Is just a different feeling. So they may not like that, and so that's one of those ones where they need to get worked up to.
Yeah, and it could cause motion sickness.
Yeah, it can.
Somebody has experienced. And he does not get motion sickness.
No.
I was really surprised when we went on our last trip, because we rode it how many times in a row? Because
we rode it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and that's the first time we'd ever seen it like that, so we took full advantage of that, kept getting on. And he's like, okay, I have to stop because, I'm feeling nauseous.
Yeah, like it was... feeling woozies in my stomach.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the next ride I'd like to talk about is Primeval Whirl, in which you have to be 48 inches on this ride, and which I have not rode this ride yet.
I haven't either.
So I don't really know a whole lot about this ride. Do you?
I don't. I haven't rode it. But it's just kind of, I think it's a twirly thing as well.
So it's kind of like
the twirly coaster.
It's a coaster. Okay, so it's yeah, I don't know.
You really haven't seen that one?
I haven't.
That's the one that you sit 4 people in this little car, and it's kind of like a coaster, and you spin as well.
No.
So
I guess we're gonna have to try this one out.
To my knowledge, I would not go on it for a motion sickness person because it does spin and go up and down hills.
I guess I'm going to have to try this one by myself.
Yeah. So, for those of you that maybe want to comment and let us know how that ride is, if you've rode it before, that's not something that's been on our top list before. Maybe we're missing out.
Yeah, we might be.
So that's the kind of height requirements that you guys need to know for each park. We do get questioned a lot with, I have a 3 to 5 year old, but I also have a newborn. And I really want to take, the older one, so that she can have fun, he or she can have fun and remember it. But, having that newborn, am I going to have to sit out on rides, And in my perspective, no. There is so many more family rides that everybody can ride or shows that everybody can do. There's only a select few with height requirements.
Yep.
So that means if you want to go on, Living with the Land with your baby in hand, you can do that.
Yep. Peter Pan.
Yep, Peter Pan, things like that. Yeah. You know, because they're all just gentle rides.
Yep. Jungle
and
Cruise.
Things like that. So
Pirates, you know, all those.
Yeah. To my knowledge, none of those have any of the height requirements or anything. I was just doing some research, and those are the ones I came up with, and I don't think that anything else does have a height requirement. If you go on Pirates of the Caribbean and Magic Kingdom or Frozen in Norway and EPCOT, those have a tiny hill, just so you're aware. You know, in each of those, nothing to be scared about. I mean, they are both tiny, so, and very gentle. So, and those are both boat rides, so they're fun, too. And you don't get soaked or anything. No. You know, maybe a little tiny
splash here and there. Yeah. Nothing like Splash Mountain.
Yeah. So, I guess, you know, I can't elaborate as much on, you know, taking a baby because I've never done it. But from my experience, those are things that you can do. There's so many things. Buzz Lightyear's, you know, the laser.
Yeah.
And then you could do the People Mover. You can do Ariel's Under the Sea. Yep. And, pardon my language, I don't know, like, you would think I would know the, you know, names of these rides, but I just call it, oh, you want to go ride Ariel? And he knows exactly what I mean. Yeah. So.
Under the Sea is what it's called.
And,
you also have Nemo over in EPCOT that you can take your newborn on and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
There's Small World. There is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh's a good one to start your, you know, newborn or younger child on, I would say. There's a lot of colors and things like that to look at that they'd probably just be looking all around, you know, curious.
Does Haunted Mansion have one? Have a height requirement?
No, they do not.
Okay.
Not that I've seen. Correct us if we're wrong on any of these. So, but these are the ones, from my knowledge, I know that you have to have high requirements on, and that's why we explain those. So, is there a certain age that I recommend taking your child when they will remember it? I would say anywhere from 5 to 6 years old for them to remember that, to start remembering it. Anyways, I went for my very first time when I was 5, and I remember parts of it, and I remember a lot more because Grandma videotaped it, so it's kind of something for me to look back on, but I do remember going and staying at Port Orleans and, you know, doing all these things.
Right.
And so I would say that's a good age.
Yeah, I would too. I would say that's a perfect age.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you want your child to remember it. You know, we're not saying, you know, don't take your younger kids because they're going to have just as much fun.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
They might not remember you taking them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, you can get the pictures and stuff too, but to make the experience better for them, 5 or 6 would be the perfect age, I would think. So
definitely. Do you have anything else you might want to add?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, if you want to put those down below, we'd be happy to answer them. And we also have a Facebook and an Instagram. It's Who's Your Disney, of course.
Yep.
Go ahead and follow us because we post things from time to time. And we can answer your questions if you inbox us as well. We'd be more than happy to do that. And then go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And we would just love your input and feedback on our videos. And so with that said, we hope everybody's staying safe and healthy out there.
Yes.
We're really hoping that Disney opens up soon. For those of you that have soon upcoming trips, you know, I'm praying for you guys as well. So I'm hoping that you know, you guys will get to be able to go, and we'll get to go in October.
Yep.
But with that said, we will see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.